I started tapping on one neck. I would learn out of piano books. One of the first things I worked out was the introduction to Rhapsody in Blue, the clarinet. I would try to do classical music, and I just took little bites at a time, and that's the best way I can describe trying to do this. Just learn what concepts you can handle for a while, and then work within those. And once you grasp those, then you can move on to adding a little more complexity. And for me, at some point on one neck, I felt like it was becoming a whole different way of thinking and playing. And it's a sort of, when I solo with my right hand, it's different than when I solo with my left hand. I think differently. So I noticed that there was something kind of happening. I don't know, it's how your brain works or how you learn, how I learned. But after a while, I started hanging two guitars around my neck, and it was kind of a showy, fun, gimmicky thing to do, like, because I can, And after a while, I realized, well, this is kind of silly if you just do this to show off, I was always seeking to create a different sound, no matter what, and a lot of times, I would start to think I was doing that, and then I'd go, oh, well, this is really somebody else's thing. So when I started hanging two guitars around my neck, I thought, well, I'm kind of limited. I went from being a pretty good guitar player to being two pretty lame guitar players overnight, and but I realized that I was also doing simple things on each neck that maybe two guitar players, real life guitar players, would never want to play. So, or could play, or even there was sort of a tightness thing. If the whole thing, if I play one hand is rushing a little bit, then the left hand rushes. So everything, it had a whole different feeling to it, like that you would just never get out of two guitar players. I would notice sometimes I would hit cool poly chords, I hit a wrong chord on each neck, and my old bands used to do that. The other guitar player would hit a wrong chord, and I go, no, wait, keep doing that. I'll play this and you do that. So, I always liked the kind of layered sound of guitars and things, and I realized after a while that if I kept pursuing the idea that each guitar part wouldn't make sense by itself, but if you put them together, then it would become something very unique and something that two guitar players would never play. So that was sort of the driving concept for me for a long time. And I hooked the two guitars together and put them on a stand, and I would walk up to the stand, and I had to practice standing up for 15 years. And after a long time, I started to feel like, wow, this is a new sound. And since then, I've just added on new techniques and new things that I can do. Or if I hear something, I go, well, how would I do that with one hand, or how would I do that on two guitars? I start working out a concept, and then eventually that concept works its way into a song, or it becomes a song. Once I had the concept of the technique, I'm always trying to interpret other instruments with that technique, other ways of phrasing with that technique. And definitely I have different ways of playing depending on if I'm playing the acoustic or the electric. There's certain things I do on the acoustic that I don't do on the electric, and vice versa. So tried to learn as many different styles and transfer those styles to two necks, and mix those styles together.